Hi there, Miss Brown's back, and today we'll be having a lesson on taxonomy and classification of living things. And there's kind of an interesting history with this, as we'll learn as we go further into this unit. So let's look at your organizer, the first page, your notes organizer on taxonomy. And up where it says taxonomy, I want you to write besides that, the science of naming and classifying organisms. So it's grouping. When you classify something, you put them in groups. At school, you're classified. You're classified by grade. Excuse me. And how are you putting grades in the beginning? You're classified by age. And then we classify you. That's why everywhere you are all day long at school is called a class. You're in first period class. Some of you are in biology. Some of you are in your math class. Some are in English, and so on and so forth. So it's just a way of classifying things so that makes them easier to understand. Now, who were our early taxonomists? So what is a taxonomist first? So beside taxonomist, I want you to write one who names or classifies. One who names or classifies. Okay, and one of the first was Aristotle, and he only had two things at the time. All they could classify, all they knew about was what they could see, and that was herbals, which was the plants, and bestiaries, which would be the animals. And so those were his two classes, what he had. And then we have the father of modern taxonomy, known as Linnaeus, and we'll be watching a video with an interesting segment on him a little bit later. But he is the father of modern taxonomy, and he recognized the need. At his time in history, things were being discovered more and more, and the plants were being sent back from America to Europe, all the different new plants, and they were having to figure out ways to name all these things. And you'll see in the video there's a very interesting segment on what the tomato plant was called, the simple tomato at that time. So he was the father, and there's some things listed underneath that. We've got common name versus the scientific name. So what is the problem? Underneath common name, it's a problem because there's more than one common name for organisms, and there are different names in different places. We call it a roly-poly. If you ever played one of those and you played outside, you touch that little thing. It's kind of a little worm-looking thing, and it rolls up in a ball. That's why we call it a roly-poly. But some people in some places they call it a pill bug because it looks like a little pill, like you take like medicine. And sow bug, and I'm not really sure why. They must be common around a pig pen or that sort of thing. I honestly don't know. But if you're talking to people in different parts of the world, you need to have a common name for that, or one central name, a scientific name, not just use the common name of things we call them around your area. So scientific names underneath that, I want you to put there the same name in all languages and the same name in all places. So there underneath you can see the name for the pill bug or the roly-poly is the Armadillidium vulgare. So that's the scientific name for the roly-poly. Now, he developed this from the Latin language, and I often tell kids if I had a chance when I went back, if I was able, I really wish I had taken Latin. So much in biology. If you're looking to get a degree in biology, it would really be an advantage to take a little Latin. As a matter of fact, I have a friend who teaches biology and Latin at her school. Also, if you're going into medicine, many of the parts of the body, the scientific names, are going to be in Latin. So, beside that, where it says Linnaeus developed the naming system, I want you to write it's in Latin, and it's binomial nomenclature. Bi meaning two, nome or nomial, that means name. Think about nominate, and nomenclature. So it's a two-name system, and beside where it says two parts of the scientific name, I want you to write the genus and species. Genus and species. There's two names. Now, I want you to use your device, pick 5 of these, and I want you to look them up and write them down here underneath where it says examples and give what exactly we're talking about. What organism is this? So stop the video and do that. Okay, so Homo sapien, of course, is a human. Felis leo is a lion. I thought that would be fun to put on there. Canis familiaris is a dog. Acer rubrum. Acer means maple. Rubrum means red, the red maple. Nicotiana tabacum is the tobacco plant. Lumbricus terrestris, you're going to get to know a lot about that pretty soon. In class, we're going to be learning about the earthworm. Citrus sinensis, that is an orange. Felis catus, that's the house cat. Canis lupus is a wolf. Quercus alba. If you're taking Spanish, you know alba means white, and quercus is oak. That's a white oak. Cannabis sativa, that is marijuana. And Mus domesticus is the house mouse. Ooh, I don't like those. Now, how do we write these correctly? You may notice these. So here are the rules. You capitalize the genus. You use lowercase for the species. You italicize or underline, but you can't do both. So if you're handwriting, you underline it. Or if you're using an old-fashioned typewriter like I had to in school, you underline it. If you're using your computer, you can actually use the italics if you're writing it out. But we underline it if we're writing it in handwriting. So what are the basis of some of these names? Well, sometimes the appearance, like the white oak. Or the location where it's found. The Apis africanus is the killer bee found in Africa. Lifestyle, Mus domesticus. Domesticus means household. So in the household, it's a house mouse, little house mice that run around your house sometimes. And it might even be named after the discoverer. Now, there are a certain grouping process that Linnaeus developed, and it's a hierarchy. So beside hierarchy of classification, I want you to write it's the level of relationships. It's the level of relationships. And I've written these down: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay. So if it's a plant, they don't have a phylum, they're called division. Okay. So on the left, I want you to pick one of these mnemonic devices to help you remember. On the left of that column, beside all the categories, you can either put keep putting clothes on for goodness sake to help you remember, or you can put King Philip came over for great spaghetti. So pick one of those and write it to the left. Now to the right, we're going to have two columns you're going to write in. The first one is the classification of the human. Animalia, Chordata, Mammalia, Primates, Hominidae, Homo sapien. The second one is the classification of the lion. Animalia, Chordata, Mammalia, Carnivora, Felidae, Felis, and Leo. And notice that genus and species, how they're written. The others aren't written that way, but notice how the genus and species are written. So I want you to write those two columns down. And then to the right of that, at the top, I want you to write general and make an arrow all the way down beside species. And then I want you to write specific. So general kingdom is very general. There are only 6 kingdoms in the whole wide world of everything between plants, animals, fungi. And as you go down, it gets more and more specific. Because notice, we're in the same kingdom as the lion, we're in the same phylum as the lion, and we're in the same class. But when you get to order, we branch off and we're in a different one. So kingdom, again, is the most general, it's the least inclusive, and it's the least related organisms. We would be in the same kingdom as fish, dolphin, monkeys, dogs, several different things we would be. Think of any animal is what the kingdom we would be in. And species is the most specific. Only humans are in our species. We're the most relative. And we will do a lesson about the species test that's coming up in another day or so. So the history of kingdoms, Linnaeus only had plants and animals. But later we had these others added, Protista, Monera, which was even subdivided later since I've been learning about biology, and fungi. So notice down at the bottom I have those little lines, little brackets. Underneath each one I want you to write these kingdoms of classification. Eubacteria, Archaeobacteria, Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. All right, and the chart will be on the next screencast.